Hi, this is Rahim Zulfiqar. In this video tutorial, we will be learning how we can do analytics based on HR data by using dynamic array formulas in Microsoft Excel 365. So I have a data here. So first I will explain you the data and then we will be solving some questions through dynamic array formulas. Okay. So I have a data which is related to HR and there are certain columns to it. So if you look from the very left side, we have employee IDs, their full name, the department in which they are working, gender, their current ages, when they join this organization, so date of join, the current salary, and the managers they are reporting to. So this is not the real data, this is fictitious data, but in your HR department you have this kind of a data as well. Okay, so moreover, those of you who are not related to the HR directly, they can also apply the logics which I will be explaining you in this video based on your sales data or financial data if you have a similar kind of requirements. Okay, so this video is for everyone who wants to do some kind of descriptive analytics in Excel 365 by dynamic array formulas. Your main focus will be that how dynamic array formulas are more flexible and dynamic as compared to our traditional practices of doing analytics in Microsoft Excel. Now this particular data has been formatted as a table. So if you don't know how to convert your normal data into a table format, so let me quickly guide you. You select your entire data and then you go to insert and click on table. That basically transform your data into a structure format into a table, and once it is being created as a table, so you can see a table design tab on the right side of your Excel, right? And the name which I have given to this table is HR underscore data. Okay, so we will be using couple of functions in this video, so don't get confused where it is coming from. This is simply a name of the table. Question is that filter all employees who are reporting to manager Rahim. So we need to extract all the information, all the columns information, but based on the manager Rahim. So how are we gonna start that? If you are using Excel 365, you have that function called filter. Okay, so filter has three arguments. The first is array, so what you want as an output. Then the second is the include, where you basically define the criteria, and then if empty. Okay, so we will talk about first the array. So we want all the columns from the HR data table, so we will write HR underscore data. That definitely selects the entire table on the other sheet. Then in the include criteria, we will say that from the HR data, and the field we will be picking here will be the manager column. Okay, so let me scroll down. I will press the tab key. All right, and that is equal to Rahim, because I want all the employees who are reporting to manager Rahim. Okay, so because this is text, I have enclosed this into an inverted commas. What further I can do is I can write Rahim in any other cell and I can give a cell address to it, or I can create all managers name list and apply a data validation and then refer to that cell. We will do all these things, but we are starting from very basic and then we will go further advanced. Okay, so in this particular formula, what we are trying to do is filtering all the columns from the HR data, but only for those records for employees who are reporting to Rahim. Okay, and let's close the bracket. So as soon as I press enter key, you can see all the records has been fetched, and we got the employee ID, their names, departments, gender, age, date. What happens sometimes you extract the dates, but it will not come in this format, so you have to format that as well, because some dynamic arrays does not format the dates efficiently. Then we have a salary column, and Rahim is keep on repeating because this is the manager column, and we have filtered all the employees who are reporting to Rahim, right? But one thing now will come in your mind that we got the data, but we don't have the headings, right? So what you can do for the headings, so you can write equals to HR data, and what you need is the headers. So you can see the headers here. Simply scroll down and press the tab key and square bracket. So you got the headers as well. Now you will say that I don't want to do it separately. I mean, does I need to do this every time? I mean, might be a question coming in your mind that if I want to get the headers with the filter function, so how am I going to do that? Yes, you can do that as well. What I can do here is we need to add another dynamic array function that is known as VSTACK, because we are adding one more line to our vertical data. So we will be using VSTACK, and we will say HR data, we need the headers, right? Okay, and we will close the bracket right here at the end. Okay. So now you can see that we got the headers as well, and you can do the formatting as well, bold or color that raw. So this is how you get the headers, and you got the filtered data based on a condition by adding a VSTACK function. But what's happening here is, because we are just fetching all the columns from the data. Now what happens that if we are just required specific columns from the data, so we have to add another dynamic array function, which I will be telling you in a short time. But for this very first example, I hope you understood how we have extracted all the records based on all employees who are reporting to manager Rahim, right? If I go to my data and if I say that okay, I need to filter based on Danish, so what I can do is instead of Rahim, I can write here Danish. So now all the employees who are reporting to Danish has been filtered with all the columns, right? Now I don't want to write Danish every time here. I want to link it with a cell, and that could be based on data validation. So let's create that. Okay, so list of managers. Okay, and what we're gonna do here is we will be applying another function that is unique, and where the array will be coming from, that is HR data, and that is from the manager column. So it will return the unique list of all the managers, right? But I also need to sort that as well. So I will use sort function at the start and just close the bracket at the end. So that will be sorted from A to Z. Okay, now I will create a data validation list here. So let's say, or right here, so let me highlight the cell. So to create a data validation list, I will go to data and I will click on data validation. That will open up a data validation window, right? So here I will select a list, and where this list is, so I will not select the entire range or array here. I will not select the entire range. The benefit is here is Ahmed is starting from the cell L6, and I will just add a hash sign, okay, and press OK. So what happens that I get entire list, and what's the benefit of this is that when any more managers will be added in future, this list will be expand automatically, and my data validation list will be updated automatically as well. So let's say I select Kamran here, and what I can do here is instead of this Danish, I can just remove this and I can make this cell. Okay, so now you can see that all the employees reporting to Kamran has been filtered, and now I can run this let's say Danish or Rahim, right? So that's very easy now. Okay, benefit we can demo here. So let's say if one more manager adds here, so does we need to update this list or data validation list again. So let's demo. Okay, so I will go to my data sheet, and here let's say I will just edit some of my records. So I am writing Zulfiqar. So there are few records of Zulfiqar has been added, you can assume that. And when I go to my analytics sheet, now you can see that the Zulfiqar is automatically being added here in this list. And if I check my data validation, so here it is as well. So now you can see that when we apply the data validation, we started with the first cell where the result being populated of Ahmad, and we use the hash sign. And even it does not matter if it's with the dollar sign or without a dollar sign. So this hashtag is changing most of the things, and the practice is in Excel right now. So I give you the demo that if in future if more data would be added, the list will definitely gonna spill, and all the things which is being connected with these dynamic array formulas will get updated as well. So these are some of the very awesome benefits. Okay. Question number 2 is filter all employees who are reporting to manager Rahim having salary greater than equal to 80,000. So now we are required to filter some records from the data, but based on two conditions. The first one is they are reporting to Rahim, and second is their salary should be greater than and equals to 80,000. Okay, so we will be learning how to define more than one criteria in the filter function. Okay, so let's get start. Equals to filter, the array would be entire data from HR data, and in the second argument, that is include. So we have two criteria, so we will be writing every criteria in the within the round bracket. Okay, so we'll say that from the HR data within the manager column, let's get Rahim, filtered Rahim. This is our first criteria that has been enclosed within the round brackets, and at the same time what we are required is to add another criteria. So we will be adding a static sign. Static here in the filter function is not multiplication. Static here is basically using for multiple conditions checking at the same time. We can also write instead of static we can use plus sign. This is or condition, either the first logic or second logic. If anyone gets true, then the result will fetch. Within the static sign, all the conditions are meeting on the back end, I mean that's true, then the result will be fetched. Okay, so this is the end condition, right? Now the second criteria is go to the HR data and pick the salary column, and that should be greater than and equals to 80,000. That's a requirement. That's the second one. So this is how we have nested two conditions within the round brackets, and we need to check both these at the same time. And you can see that when I hover my cursor, true and false are being producing. That's what I told you, right? So let me press the enter key, and now you can see that we have fetched all the results of all employees who are reporting to manager Rahim. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that you will see the salary which will be definitely greater than or equals to 80,000. You can add more criteria to it. Let's suppose if we want to add another criteria which will check at the same time, so we'll write another static. So we will add another static sign here, round brackets open, and we need to say that go to HR data, and based on gender column, that should be equal to we are looking for males only. Okay, so let's close the bracket, and now you can see all employees reporting to Rahim, their salary is greater than equals to 80,000, and all are males as well. Okay, so that's how we nest with the multiple conditions within the filter function. Okay, another thing which definitely you want to learn is that, and we have done previously, that sir, what if we want the headers as well? Okay, so I have already told you the methods in question number 1. Let me add that as well here. So what we're gonna do is we will adding a VSTACK function, right? And we will say that go to HR data Okay, and let's pick the headers, hashtag headers, and let's close the bracket. So okay, so now we got the headers as well, right? Now there could be a question will come in your mind that if we don't want all the columns from the data, we want some specific columns from the data, how are we going to do that? So definitely we have a situation next to it, so we'll gonna solve that as well. Another thing is that when you are writing the name of the manager manually, what we can do is we can do a data validation here as well. So let me copy from the above example this data validation, copy, and we will paste right here, let's say here. Okay, and we will modify it a bit. Instead of writing this manual name for the manager, we will locate this cell. Now you can see Danish has been applied, okay, based on 80,000 greater than 80,000 salary and for males only. Similarly, we can change the manager, Kamran, again Munir, Rahim, right? So I hope you have learned that how we have solved this question number 2. Alright, let's proceed to the question number 3. So the question number 3 says that we need to extract salaries of people reporting to Rahim. So we just want a one column that will fetch the salaries for all employees who are only reporting to Rahim, and we will do these analytics as well. Okay. So how we're going to do that? We will be using the filter function, but there are some new learning for you as well. Let's understand this. What we need this time array, before that we will calling the entire HR data, which will be fetching all the columns from there, right? But this time we just want the salary, right? And then we need to define the criteria. So based on that HR data, we will pick the manager column, and that is being equal to Rahim, right? And let's close the bracket. Now it's showing me an spill error. Why? Because there is no much space at the down, because you see there is question number 4 and the spill wants some additional space to fetch the required results. Okay, so until unless if I give more space to it, that then this function will get applied. So whenever you see this spill error, make sure that you have enough space to for the formula to return the desired number of results. So what I will be doing here is inserting some additional rows until I get all the results. Okay, so that's one of the way to, so this is one of the way to get rid of the spill. Okay, now what we got is the all employees which are reporting to Rahim, their salaries, right? And I have already told you that instead of writing this particular thing Rahim every time, we can, what we can do is data validation, right? So we will be applying a data validation, and watch it very carefully. We will be learning some new things here. So I will copy this data validation from my above question, and I will be pasting here. Okay, and I will be changing this to likewise you can say that equals to inverted commas reporting to, okay, and ampersand, and I will be giving this manager name address, so reporting to Rahim, and I can change this to Danish as well, but these are not changing because I need to change here as well. So instead of Rahim writing manually, I will be referring to B74. So what happens now, reporting to Kamran, and all the employees salaries related to Kamran, then Munir, and then again Rahim, right? And now the best part is that not every manager has any equal records. Now for example, if I select Saad, so I mean there are some less records might be compared to the other managers. Let's see Danish here as well. Okay, so Danish has a less records as compared to Rahim, right? So I mean the technical side you need to understand is that the number of results coming from the Danish will be not equivalent to the number of results coming from Rahim, right? So how to handle if I do these analytics answers with the help of this particular range, how I can make it dynamic. So I have already given you the hint that this hashtag is a game changer, and how it is, let's learn that as well. Okay, and I will not select range like this. What we do traditionally, we used to select the columns, or we have a name range there, so we select the name range, right? But after the dynamic arrays, what we need is when the first result is generating, you just need to add a hashtag. What this will do is this will select the entire array here, okay, for Rahim. And when I close the bracket, that gives me 2.8 million. And what is the benefit of it when I change from Rahim to Danish? So Danish has typically less records, but still the sum function is basically selecting the entire range for Danish. I mean, that's very super cool. I mean, now you can compare with the traditional approaches with this modern dynamic array formulas approaches as well, right? So you just need to pick the first cell where the dynamic array has populated the result and use the hashtag. So that will be dynamic for all the different kind of number of records spilling with this formula. Okay, let's get back to Rahim, and let's apply the other calculations as well. So equals to average, you want the average as well, so you'll select the first cell and hashtag, and let's close the bracket. Then maximum and minimum, you know it already, max equals to max, the first cell, put the hashtag, close the bracket. The minimum is also easy, equals to min, you pick the first cell, hashtag, close the bracket, minimum. And then the count of the number of employees who are getting the salary of greater than 100k. Okay, so we will be using count ifs here, and the criteria range one is this criteria range, and the criteria is greater. Okay, so this is the criteria. There are 9 people, and let's see, Danish 11 people, max, min. I mean, everything is being calculating very smoothly and very dynamic. Alright, so question number 4 says filter all employees who are reporting to manager Rahim, and we need this time only specific columns like employee ID, names, gender, age, and salary. So if I go to my data, there are so many columns here, right? So I need specific columns now as an output for this question. So how are we going to solve this? So we will be introducing another new function, a part of dynamic array formulas. So let's get start. Equals to filter. Now array, in the previous examples we have looked how we fetch all the columns from. We have also seen that how we can fetch a specific one column, but now we have a requirement, we need to get output from specific columns, right? So it could be 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it depends on your requirement. So we will be adding another function that is known as choose columns. Okay, so we need to choose columns from which array, from the table name, that is HR data, and the column numbers. So we have more than one column, so we will be using like this curly bracket 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. These are the columns 1, 2, 4, 5, 7. These are the columns which represent ID, names, gender, age, and salary. Okay, and we will close the bracket for choose columns. Now in the include criteria, which criteria is all the employees who are reporting to manager Rahim. So that's very simple, there is just one logic. So HR data from the manager column, and that is equivalent to Rahim, right? That's how we will be writing it. So another function we have learned about getting some specific columns from the data. We need to get their position numbers, and we can use choose columns as well. So now we are getting IDs, names, gender, age, and salary, right? That's awesome. Another thing, we need headers as well because it's not fetching the headers. So how are we going to do that? We can add VSTACK again, which we have learned from the previous questions as well. So VSTACK HR data, okay, and we will call the hashtag headers, and we'll just close the bracket at the end. Okay. So this is the entire formula. Now we have the headers as well. But what happening now? What HStack is doing is we are saying that get the headers from the HR data, so it's fetching all the headers, and that's not our requirement, right? So that kind of thing will happen. So what we need to do here is, so we need to also add choose columns here for this logic here as well. Okay, so what I will do is I will copy this logic, Control C, and I will say that Control V, and I will remove this from here. Okay, and this will be the hashtag headers. Okay, and let's close. So now you can see that there are no errors coming, and we have just 5 headers: ID, full name, gender, age, and salary. So let me put it in a neat and clean way so that you can understand. So what we are doing is we are basically combining the headers with the results. So we are using VSTACK, and we need not all the headers, we just need specific headers. So we have put the numbers within the choose column functions to fetch that, and then we need the records again, not for all the columns. We have to be very particular for these column numbers where the manager is Rahim. Okay, so that's how it's working, right? And what more you can do is, instead of writing the name of the manager, you can add a data validation and make it more dynamic. Okay. Thank you. Alright, so question number 5 is we need to summarize department wise data based on age filter. So we will be putting this particular number of age as a filter, and that will fetch the department list and number of people working in it. For example, the age above is 35. So how many department has headcount working 35 or above, and how many number of people are working above 35? Okay, so that's the thing we need to extract from the data. So first, let me keep it very simple, not going to very complex at the very first stage, so that you can understand step by step. Okay, now what I need to do is, first I need to fetch the list of departments, okay, as a unique list and as a sorted list, but not all department, based on this age criteria. Okay, so how are we going to do that? We need the department list sorted and also unique and based on criteria. Okay, so, and we need to filter that records as well. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Now you can understand we need to apply sort function, we also need to apply unique, and we need to have a filter function as well. So the function which is most inner portion within the logic is basically solve first, and then it go the outer part. Okay, so we need to filter from the HR data the list of departments, right? So we have a column called department. Okay, and based on which criteria, that will be again HR data based on age column, and that will be greater than and equals to, or you can write only a greater than as well. It's your choice. So this is the cell address. Okay, this is C163 in my case. Okay, and let's close the bracket. Okay, so we got the list of all the departments, unique list, sorted list. You can see it's sorted from A to Z. So it's business development, engineering, finance, HR, right? So it's basically sorted, it's unique, and based on the age of 35 and above. Okay, and for example, if I change the age, let's say 25 or I can say 45. So I mean the age above 45 has just three departments: business development, research and development, and support. Whereas if I change the number again, that's 35, right? So that's awesome thing. Now we want to see that how many people are working in each of the department, right, based on this particular age. So what logic will be coming here to get the number of headcount or people? So we'll be using equals to count ifs, okay, and the criteria range will be from HR data, the depart, right, comma, criteria one will be this first department name with a hash symbol, so that it select the entire range from here, comma, then criteria range 2 based on age, so that again from HR data, age column, right, and then that will be greater than equals to, put the inverted commas and ampersand sign, and then the age cell, that is C163, and let's close the bracket. So we got the number of people, okay, from each of the department based on this age. When I change it to 45, let's say, so see, there are only three people each from the separate department. If I write 40 here, so you can see it's being expanding, right? If I write 35 here, see, now what we want is we need to sort this particular data based on the second column, that is people, or you can say headcount, from highest to lowest. Okay, so how are we going to do that? We can do including a sort function, sort this department first result. Okay, so how are we going to write first result hashtag, that will automatically select the range. So for example, in case if I change the number here, that definitely the number of records will definitely change, but I mean that's the benefit of these spill ranges. So we have selected the departments column, then colon sign, and then we will select the people first cell and we will put hashtag here. We want to sort second column. Okay, so we'll write sort index 2, and the sorting order will be descending from highest to lowest, or you can say large to smallest. So we need to put -1 here. So we'll put -1 and let's close the bracket. So now you can see it's being sorted based on the second column. So if I change the number here, let's say 45, okay, now if I write 40 here, so see, it's being sorted here. That was not sorted here as well. If I write 35, right, so what I can do before is that instead of this particular cell address or this cell address, we don't need to create these helper columns as well. What we can do is we can copy this entire logic in this particular cell address, but that would be gonna become very complex for everyone to understand. That's why we need to create a visualization for this data. Now you can compare traditionally when you go to insert and you select the appropriate chart you would like to create. So in this particular thing, we will not select the entire range because once we define the different number of age here, the number of rows and the number of records are definitely different every time here, right? And that's dynamically spill. So in traditional or old Excel, what you need to do is you need to revise the ranges within the chart area as well. But now what happens that when my first result has been populated in cell B166, I am just here and I will create a column chart, simple column chart here, right? So all the departments are being listed here. You can do more formatting to make it more attractive, but I'm just showing you the logic. So when I change the number here from 35 to 45, let's say, see, now it's being automatically understanding the ranges. Only 3 departments is being shown here. When I write 40 here, see, when I write 35 here, so your charts are also being dynamic. I mean, these kind of things will gonna help you a lot when you create a dashboard with using dynamic array formulas, and that was not thing there in older versions or old approach of Excel. So I hope my audience is understanding why it's crucial to update yourself towards dynamic array formulas and learning those functions, right? Alright, so question number 6 is find names and number of employees reporting to manager. So let's say we have a data validation list here for all the managers, and we have selected Rahim. So we need to fetch all the names of employees who are reporting to Rahim and their count as well. So we will be adding a function called TEXTJOIN. Okay, so the first argument is the delimiter. So because there are more than one names and we want to add a comma and space between every name, so we will put comma space within the inverted commas. That's the delimiter we want. Ignore if empty, you can go with the true, and then we will be apply the filter function. So the first is array. What we need as an output, we just need the names of the employees, so that are being stored in HR data, and full names. Okay, in the criteria we will again go with the HR data, the name manager column. Okay, that would be equal to this cell B200, and let's close this. So all the names of employees who are reporting to Rahim has been fetched. If I change it to Danish, so you can see that as well. Now I want to count that how many of them are working with Rahim. Okay, so here count a function. Okay, then text split function, because we need to split comma space and then count the number of names inside the cell. So we will say that column delimiter is comma space, and let's close the bracket. So there are 39 people who are working with Rahim. Okay, that's the logic. So if I change it to, instead of Rahim, to Danish, so it's 36. Okay, and these are the names. So I hope in this particular video you have learned how dynamic array formulas are important for every Excel user at the present, and they need to update themselves and do an investment in learning these awesome functions to make their work easier.